You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. So thank you and welcome to the Pan-African Daily TV tonight. I must really do apologize. I'm having a cold and I lost my voice for the past days. That's why we were not coming live. It's just a cold. Everyone is getting affected. The winter is coming and it's really reminding us where we're supposed to be at this point in time, right? So if there's some changes, please do not worry about that. I actually came because this was an emergency show because I had almost an hour conversation with Professor James Small, and he gave me a very strategic message to pass to you all Africans worldwide. As we all know, he just went through a very difficult operation, knee operation, something that he's been suffering from for a while now. And this time he had to go in for it. And his experiences, what he went through, actually, motivated him to send out this message. Normally, he is getting better. He is getting healed. He is no more in the hospital. He's home, but he is still not fit enough. I mean, today was the first day that he was left on his own, and so he could make dinner for himself. He could cook, so that was already something very okay. And we could share conversations, so you could hear in his voice that healing process, that he is truly recovering and recovering so fast. But what actually caught my attention, actually, like I said, was the spirit in which he shared message, asking me actually to come on live today. It was mandatory that I come. Actually, I would not come on live today. I would have been coming up live tomorrow because I actually, even Ia, who is doing the technique today, is also affected. Everyone is just affected in the moment. And so, but because it's a call, I am obliged to come. And also, I thought there's been some, like the situation with Facebook that shut down yesterday, there were some changes, and a brother reached out from us from the UK to give us some indications to pay attention to your WhatsApp. Messages of change. And so if you post or share something which normally would have been encrypted or directed to just your contact, everyone got to see it now. So we're going to be talking about that function also. And then we had a message from this group of activists in the US whom actually came out with a project called Afro-Kansa in Kentucky, Lexington, last year. And they were inspired by the awakening of the Africans now on the continent and the diaspora. And so their project was really about, connecting the African migrants and the indigenous African American migrants, diaspora, right? And because they had been this disconnect, we heard it a couple of times. Professor James Small said it. We heard it a couple of times that there's just no connection when the Africans from the continent come to the US. They just stay under them. It's also a systematic divide, to control. And so they came up with this project, a meeting spot that is connecting the African diaspora and the African migrant community. And this project is being launched on Friday in Lexington, Kentucky City. And actually, I'm waiting for the guest. That's why we've been a little bit late today, who has to tell us a little bit more about the project, how they came about it, how does it look like, is it a community project, what is it actually about, how is the official launching going to be about. We've been hearing a lot of messages and the noise out there. And also, this is very important because that's the kind of project we think that should multiply uh, on the continent and also in the diaspora, because we're talking about integration. Integration is one of the biggest projects that we have to also talk about, to see how do we reintegrate when we go back to the continent. We've also seen that the community out there is divided. The diasporans are having difficulty on the continent. Those that actually are going back home, they're having challenges. So if we have really meeting spots and places where it's actually met to build this context and connections and share, even through events and communication, how the communities can begin to work together, right? Getting to know each other. Before it wasn't existing, but now is the time. I think we also have to multiply a project like Afro-Kansa in Europe, in the UK, and also on the continent. Why not? But then we'll wait if we're lucky to have this guest today. If not, I will just share the information that I have with you about this project. So another topic that we want to share a very quick discussion on today is the Pan-African Daily this week. Tomorrow we're going to have a special guest. This one is a Queen Warrior, and the contact also reached me through a brother. I'm giving the shout out to brother who wrote to us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, and said, Dr. Susan, you need to get in touch with Queen Gigone, the second of Gabon, and she is very powerful and doing so much in terms of awakening. I think if you go to our Instagram page, I mean, you could just see everything for yourself. So, but we were lucky to have her, and a very just like the spirit on the Pan-African Daily TV family. And she just like, yes, I'll be there tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to get here on the show. And on Friday, we would be getting in touch again with Osman Toure, who has been really gathering a lot of experience after his first appearance on the Pan-African Daily TV and a couple of times. And that conversation, we did stream it, we rebroadcasted it yesterday for those that are new and who don't know who Osman Toure is, that they could get a little bit of an idea when he is on the show on Friday with us. Saturday is going to be a surprise show. I hope we would get Professor James Moore here. We're still looking at it. He has to be back in the clinic tomorrow. Actually, when he comes back, then we'll be able to confirm if he's going to be here. But I'll pass out the message that he gave to us. He made 5 strategic points that we have to share tonight. And he actually said he is not coming to do the show, but he wants us to get the message first before any other time. Depending on his condition, if he's here with us, he's going to treat this particular point with us. Because like during this period, he went through a lot of transition as well. And he began to think and reflect like, what if our ancestors like Reverend Ronoko knew that that was the end? He would have made an impact. He would have said something different. He would have left us with a word. What if Excellency Magufuli knew that he actually would have passed away? He would have maybe gave a communication. What if, even starting from the ancestors of Marcus Garvey, Chaik Anta Diop, and Kwame Nkrumah, all of them, some sort, they transit in a way that, as if they never knew, as if it's an accident. Most of them, yes, we knew happened. They were killed, they were murdered, or in some sort, or were ill. But if they had known, if they had even been conscious of the fact that today we can be here and tomorrow no more, probably they would have built a structure. They would have gave a message in which we can work today. So sometimes we do the work and then we just disappear. And then people always have to start the work again from over. And so most often it is like preparing the future, through this transition. I'm not saying that Professor James Moore is totally in the state where he's not going to come, but I think during this process, it dawned on him that there are a lot of things that they are useful facts and messages concerning us as Africans and our unity and our renaissance and our awakening that we need to pay attention in. But I also can think that that message was not coming at at the wrong time. We already felt it when we had Dr. Elaine with us on Saturday. We could already see the journey of that consciousness. We could already see the path that the times in which we're living now are so critical to our mindset, to us as a people, to us as a reawakening. And mind you of the fact that this is not the first reawakening. This is not the first time. We also got a comment from our Facebook page that, a very staunch Pan-African said, but what is going to be different in this 21st decade reawakening? This is not the first time. But what happened during the other awakenings? Are we going to do the same mistake? Are we just going to rise up like we're doing now and later on everybody just goes back to sleep? Are we going to be bought over? Are we going to compromise the struggle? Are we going to, like I said, compromise our standpoint? What is it that we came up with as ideologies that maybe if we start getting now into the implementation phase, which we are going through now, I think what the structures are doing now is putting permanent structures, and later on we're going to dive into the implementation of these projects. So during that implementation process, are we still going to stand faithful to our calling, to our awakening? Or are we just going to make some choices depending on the circumstances we're going to be experiencing during this implementation process? So these are all questions that we have to reflect on. And I think he said it critically in this 4 steps or 5 points. The first point that he said was the need for us to get more united. The need for us to get more united. He said he left a couple of messages, just like Dr. Ronoko and the others are saying. But maybe we're not paying attention enough. We just watch a show, we listen to it, but are we paying attention? Are we taking facts from this conversation, or it is just another entertainment with Professor James Small? That was the question. That was the fundamental question upon which the message came. So he thought in this transition process of being on the Pan African Daily TV, we are starting a journey to teach. We are starting a journey to our renaissance. And we've been doing a couple of shows and conversations on diverse topics. We've had all the best that we could, he said, from the Dr. Leonard Jeffries to the Dr. Wade Nobles to Professor Kaba to King Maponga to King Mbongane to Professor Pielo Lumumba to Dr. Arikana to Rutendo, to all to Dr. Reverend Ninana. We've had all, whether it's Al Wahab or it's Sister Edith Oladale or is our elder Marvin L. Gay. We have had them, or whether it is Osman Toure. He is saying, have we just been entertaining ourselves, or we are paying attention that this is work? Because he said in this transition, he had a vision. He could feel that spirit of unity. And one thing that was very obvious to him was that healing process. He could never have been healed. He said it. And he's going to mention that. He never would have been healed if it was just a scientific thing or an illness. But he said one thing that was very critical. He felt your prayers. He felt them. I mean, he felt the healing. He felt the many people that prayed. He felt our thoughts. I don't know how I can explain this. I'm just saying it from the way I felt it, from the way he was saying it. But I really cannot put it in a way that I want you to understand the way I understood it. I just hope I could do that, because everything was clear and certain. And then we go back to our show with Dr. Elaine. She said it. She made a point very relevant. And she said these were case studies that they made in the clinics where she was working. And she realized that they made, case studies where a group of people would spray, send a positive energy in one, in a certain dimension, in a certain format. I know when we say pray, most of us just go back to the religious systems and how we pray and how we meditate. But it is about a group of people that believe and have a vision, and they are sending a particular type of energy. And so, whether it is prayer or it is meditation or you were just speaking, whether it was the calls that some of you tried to reach out, or the messages, or the card, the postcard, or the message that he himself left from the operation and passed out to you, and the reactions that came because of that. Whatever it was, he said, there was something that he felt. And so the message of love, unity is very relevant amongst us right now. And he doesn't think it is a coincidence. Whatever each and every one of us would experience, it doesn't mean if it is a breakup, it is if it is a divide. I don't know. I'm still trying to put it the way I understood it. If it is a breakup, if it is a unifying factor, if it is a new journey, if it is anything that we would experience, in as much as you are conscious and you are following this awakening and you are caught up in the spirit in point in time, you would have to feel something. You would have to go through a challenge. You would have to go through a personal journey, whether your health is going to be, or your job is going to be, or you're going to relocate. You're going to change. In whatever situation, there would have to be a change. And his was having a new knee. And that process, he said, he had never felt pain in his life. And you all know who Professor James Small has been and is. And so if an elder would tell you, remember, he was the bodyguard of Malcolm X. Hey, you know what that means. And among all the challenges, among all the works that he has got to do, but if he said he went through a pain, is good. I don't know. Can you see me? Finish live there. I don't know. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Because we just had a cut in the studio. There's a breakage. There's a breaking. There's no connection. Are you hearing me? Please, if you're hearing me, just type a message in the stream. Are you hearing me? Are you following me? All right. Okay. Fine. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Um, so like I was saying, it's that message came. Now we have another signal that just happened, the breakage. I don't know what happened. Our studio just went off. I don't know whether you were hearing me or not. Anyway, it is that point in time where he said, if you don't go through this period, then there is something lacking. And so he is calling on each and every one of us to pay attention to the time, in the time at which we are all functioning now. It is a delicate time. There are going to be a lot of challenges, like I said, whether it's switching, but it's something that has to happen. But one thing that he is saying is we have to stay focused on our renaissance, on our unity, on our connecting, on our reparations, on our families, on our parent, teachers, whatever, early child trainings. We have to pay attention to everything. That things will never be the same again for the African, but that we have to embrace the new journey. And that journey is very important for all of us. And so I'm kind of like categorize it to summarize everything that he said, but taking it back to see that it was already an introduction, like I said. If we just go back to the show with Dr. Elaine, everything that Professor James Soma said, it was as if Dr. Elaine brought that message, and all those case studies and research factors that she brought and shared with us is the same thing that Professor James said she went through, he experienced it. And he said he would actually not term it holistic medicines, he would say it's realistic medicines, because it's a fact that love heals. It's a fact that unity and the spirit of one, the Ubuntu in us, I mean, it brings something that is not describable. He felt it. He felt it. He is happy that he got this healing. And he is happy that, you know, it is mystical, but it's real. It is true. And so the more united, the more connected, the more we love each other. And we ask these questions. How are we going to express? What are the tools that should connect us more and that should unite us more? And that should actually be the expression when you say, yes, Africans are loving each other. Africans are supporting each other. Africans are in one with the creator, with their ancestors. They are in one with the development and the Africa that they want. What is it that has to change? We know that Dr. Elaine said it starts with you. And it's the same thing Professor James said, it starts with you. And that you will not believe it. The revolutionary spirit that he had and that he has to stay. But the format in which we have to exhibit it has to change. The revolutionary spirit of a liberated people has to continue. The battle, the war is on, but the format has to change. The format has to change. The way we transmit the energy has to change. Has it been that we instead are drilling in the past, but thinking that we're doing the same? I take an example. Like I said before, this is not the first time that we are awakening. What is going to change? We are doing the same messages that Dr. Marcus Garvey said. It was the same uprising rose up when Kwame Nkrumah started the revolution in Ghana and had to put the structures out there. What has changed? It is the same spirit that we know. Dr. Ronoko, the resurges, being to more than 100 countries. What will change? It is the same research that we have from the professors out there. Professor Pierre Olumumba, on the move. We know it. Maponga with spirituality. Dr. Arikana with diaspora and investment and reparations and repatriations. Uh, Juliet Ryan with, documentation, citizenship. What has changed? These are not new theories. Even us on the Pan-African Daily hosting was the same thing that they made. And the first media program project that started was Dr. Marcus Garvey that started it with his newspaper. How do we reach the people about this unification? and the liberation of the African? What has changed with the rallies that Malcolm X did, Martin Luther King, the words? What has changed? What has stopped this process? So this is another. We can say, like in the revolution period, that they said this is a industrial revolution era of digitalization, right? And we see the changes. But what has changed in the renaissance of the African? This is not the first renaissance. And we see Agenda 2063 of the African Union stressing on the renaissance of the African culture, going back to our roots. It's all deeply rooted in that agenda. We've never taken time to go through the aspirations of Agenda 2063, but we've been working on it on the Pan African Daily TV, and they are fact, particularly on the renaissance of the Africa. We're doing the same thing now. We're doing it. It's just sometimes because of the governance, the need for leadership and the governance, we're not paying attention. But everything is a refurbishing the same thing that like our predecessors did. So, but what is really going to change? And I think that's the message that Professor James Small is saying. We have to come back with a spirit of that renaissance, that burning for our unity and the need for good governance, the need for good leadership. Like Professor Pierre Olumumba is saying, he's into politics and good governance, right? And then we have the youth and advocacy. We have everyone standing up. We have each and every one of you watching us, either from the Facebook page or from our YouTube channel or from our Instagram pages and all that. What is going to change? That is what we should be thinking. We heard about the Pan African Congress coming up, all the others. How are we going to do it this time? We know about the Pan African Parliament that is existing in South Africa. What are they doing different? What they should be doing when we talk about Pan Africanism? Do we understand the same concept? Is it a political Pan-Africanism or it is an indigenous Pan-Africanism? So the word has been used upon and used upon, but what is going to change in the meaning and the way we understand it? Most of us leaders that are standing up know that we're going to be judged by our actions. We're going to be judged by our words. We're going to be held accountable for everything that we're saying. And so if we don't deliver, if we don't bring that unity, that come together, that work together, that mindset, re-education, going back to our indigenous history, we're going to be held accountable or we're going to be cut short in the trail of life. So we should be very cautious. What is it that we want to see it change? What is it that has to happen differently? So Professor James Small says, I should greet you all, and that he loves you so, so much, and that he knows that all of you love him. Not only him as Professor James Small, but that all of you are loving the spirit of a united Africa right now. And that he felt it through your prayers. He felt it through your meditation. Whatever is it that you just thought about him? Whatever thing when you heard that he was sick and when even he made the message that you just thought. We saw people that wrote messages like, oh, he was sick. Oh, he was in the hospital. Just that exclamation. What is it that your thought was on that point? That is a meditation. That's a prayer. What is it that you sent? A lot of you, oh, get well soon. Good well messages. We had a lot of people that were like, can we reach him on phone? Is he reachable? Can we talk to him? And even us on the Pan African Daily TV, we didn't have access to him until he started recovering. Okay, until he get out from that operation. So the issue is this is the transition. It would have either been you come back or you go. And he's thinking, if we are conscious of the fact that it is either now or tomorrow, and that tomorrow is not even sure, what is it that you would do for your race? What is it that you would do for your people? What is it that you would say, I want to stop doing this, I want to start doing this because it could end now? And it's true, if you've been through this process of healing, if you've laid down under, and how they call it, anesthesia. How do- if you've been there and you come back, you would understand what it means not coming back, and you had maybe a message. But of course, it's not only for those that have been there. Most of us that are alive today make some decisions depending on the fact that, oh, if I would not be here, or if there would be a transition in my family, how am I going to react? How would I do? If there was a wish that I have to fulfill, then I have to fulfill that wish now. And so the question and the message, if there was a wish that you have to fulfill for the love and the unity of the African, what is it that you want to fulfill tonight? Because tomorrow is not sure. Okay. And that is the message we've been having. So you would have to reflect upon it. You can go back to the show with Dr. Elaine. You can go back to it. I've watched it. We've watched it again on the Pan African Daily TV private team group, and we analyze every part in that message. We have also shared that conversation with the conscious community out here. I know a lot of us are working on this journey of the renaissance of the African. But most often, we don't pull back and take time and see what is it that is already existing. Am I doing something new, or I'm doing something that was already done? And if there was something that was already done, why should I recreate? Is it possible that, okay, we could? So we had a conversation today, even with Kwame from State 55. And Kwame was saying the same thing. Oh, we planning on organizing this All People's Pan-African Congress. And the question was, what is going to be different? We heard Brother Jume and the organization out there with Brother Asukile in the United States that have been doing this for long, and they already planned also a Pan African Congress since before COVID. We heard Dr. Tony Jaja came here, and there was already one that was planned before COVID, even with the Professor Pierre Olumumba, to take place in Ghana. I mean, so we're seeing all this coming up. But one thing that we should think that should not happen is that they're going to be Pan-African Congress in different format, in different places, hosted by different individuals. Is that what should not happen? Then we have to start thinking differently. Before we move a step to say, I want to do something, what is it that you think you want to do? Is it already being done? Is it a possibility that I'm doing the same thing and then dividing the people again? People that should have been focused. So those are all conversations that we thought about today. So if you are already in an organization and you're working on something and you want to create, because we are innovators, there are a lot of innovations that are coming up. There is nothing wrong with it. Everything is just good and fine. But maybe, just maybe, you want to come up with an innovation. Is it possible that you look and say, is it already existing? Do I need to start one over? Is it something that, okay, is different? We have different sectors. We have different visions and missions. And but am I doing the same thing? So if you look at cross and do some research and say it's already existing, is it also necessary that maybe I join that and then we make something better out of it? Or should I create something new? But who are going to be the followers? Because it's going to be the same followers that were already on the other vision. And so we're going to be turning around in the same circles. And it's really going to be difficult for us actually to be on the same level. And that's why we keep saying we don't have a structure. We don't have an organization. We are not united because there are many voices speaking, and that voices have to come under one structure. Now, but which structure? And what are they focused on? For us on the Pan African Daily, we already took the journey of staying focused on culture and education and development, and through the media, That is what we took. And that's why you see the guests that we're bringing here have to be historians that are bringing us our indigenous history or our culture, spirituality, our way of doing business, our lifestyle. That is what we already were called and we were doing even since 20 years. It's not just today, right? So, but if I want to maybe go into another sector, then I have to look what is already existing in the market. And then is it necessary that but we already know that all the communication or every other existing organization, you have a right to come on the Pan African Daily TV, present your project. What is it that you're doing out there? Is it work for women, for youth, for artists, for entertainment? What is it for fashion, for food? You know, so that is the conversation. So, like I said, the next topic is going to be this WhatsApp issue that we had from a brother out there in the UK that reached out to us. And like, pay attention to your WhatsApp. Your WhatsApp, because of the Facebook issues, actually disconnected a function, and this function means your messages are read by everyone instead of just your contacts, right? So if you go to your setting, then you're going to go to your account and you go on the privacy and you go on the groups and then you go to settings. If you go to groups, you go to setting, you're going to see that the button is not actually on contacts. The highlight is going to be on everyone. If that was your intention in the beginning, then that's fine. But if that's not your intention, then just go on to your WhatsApp now and make sure you correct it. Because when that message came yesterday, I didn't pay attention to it. But when the brother sent that message and said, Pan African Daily, make sure you communicate that, I did, went through it, and I saw that it was. Mine was not affected. I don't know why, but the boys and then all the contacts that we sent to, and they was just like, yes. And normally I set it on groups or on contacts, but now it's on everyone. So I want to thank you, Mr. Ngwese, that is watching us from the UK right now, for that feedback. And we want to get a lot of information like this. What is it that is changing? What should we be paying attention to? Of course, a lot of people were already agitating on the shutdown, a couple of hours of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And so we begin to also think, what if it just happened one day that it never even happened again? What if Facebook was not able to dictate what happened and then, their servers or whatever was it? And to bring it back, what would you have been doing? But anyway, we went into the community and we saw what the communities were saying, particularly our African communities worldwide. There were a lot of feedbacks, and a lot of people were like, wow, Mr. Facebook, and is it possible for you to connect with our brother in Sierra Leone who launched the WhatsApp app? You all know our brother in Sierra Leone who launched the Africa WhatsApp app, and said, no, 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 we can help you, Mr. Facebook. We are all on the global space now. So what makes you think that development can only come from this sector? And this comment was very, very trending. A lot of people shared it a couple of times. They're like, yes, why not? Africa can develop, Africa can deliver, can offer a solution. So another comment that we actually had, but you can drop your comment and we'll bring it live onto the show. You can drop your comment and we would display it on the show. If there's something that you want people to pay attention or to react to it, we can share your comment. So go ahead and just punch anything or share a thought or a question that you want to ask and that you want the community to actually respond to it. We would pull it out on the screen. I hope everything stays as we said. Um, so another comment that was very interesting was we saw from the community, particularly in Europe, um, uh, there was a statistics that came out in the news here, how people actually in this short period went back to using their SMS, the traditional method that they had before we had this. And it was 3 times the consumption of SMS messages during this shutdown of Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram in the community, right? So people could connect again on on send SMS because there was no medium of doing FaceTiming or or voicing. But us from the Pan African Daily TV, we went back to our Afro World TV platform, which is similar to the Facebook app, and I launched calls on it, and it was working. And we could chat, we could do video calls, and then we could talk. And I was like, wow. So wait a minute, it's like we saying a couple of things, but things are going to be happening very soon. So just what if it didn't happen? We didn't get back our access to Facebook and our WhatsApp. So we would just been switching now to Afro World TV. So what is it I'm trying to say? If you haven't created your account, if you haven't signed up on Afro World TV, please make sure you do. Just like you hear me call it, Afro World TV is the link right to this social media page. So go ahead, click on it, sign it, because we never know what is going to happen. It happens, it can happen all the time, right? But there also was this other feedback from the community, I think in the UK, where it was being said that there was a mother keeps saying, shouting at the son, like, I've been writing to you on Facebook and the whole day, and it broke out to a fight. And the son was like, no, mom, WhatsApp is down. I said, no, WhatsApp can never be down. How on earth do you think that something like that will happen? And this caused really a problem out there in that neighborhood. And they had to call the police and stuff like that. So these are the kind of mindset that we're saying, like, we never believed that things like this could happen for whatever reason. Of course, there are a lot of critics about the community standards of Facebook, how it's non-trans or non-friendly um, community standards. Like, it's biased, that we've heard that a couple of times. We know, particularly when Africans are saying something, they'll have to bring it down. We all do know that this does exist. But if that's the reason why it happened, because of this whistleblower, or it just happened because of the server, that is a decision that all of us have to make. You have to make it from your own experiences. But what is it that you felt in this shutdown? We want to hear your comments. We want to see your comments in the chat. And we will be bringing Sandra Edwards is saying, I went on Facebook in 2008 and off in 2009. Yes, Sandra, like you said. So probably there's something that already made you. And we also saw really this feedback from people that would say, oh, bye bye Facebook, as if, yes, we're using it just because we have it now, but maybe we still be good without it. And then another very good comment that came out also on our Facebook page was, a lot of people saying, you see, but nothing happened. We didn't die. We're still here. And so all these systems are going to pass away, but we're going to stay. Like, I used to think that I cannot survive without it. I used to think that I can't live without it, but of course it is, right? And some other people were thinking, oh, was my account hacked? Was this something, the old traditional setup our Facebook when we don't have access? And most people really thought it was an internet issue. Like me, we have very poor internet connection and network in our neighborhood here. You see, sometimes when we are live, the images are blurred and stuff like that. It's because really our internet is so slow. We're really in a village, in a nature oriented place. We love it. We really love it out here. We're really in the woods. And so that connection, the people out here are so close to nature. They are farmers, most of them. They go out to walk. It's really like connected, right? And so it didn't mean anything. So for us, it was just because we were thinking of coming live on posting. And then Naisha wrote to me and like, Mom, I'm not getting you. And I sent some messages. I said, no, but it's just a connection problem, right? He said, no, but there's some delay. And then suddenly Tumi said, but there is something. I just watch on the news and it's like Facebook has been down and Instagram and nothing is working. I'm like, what? And then we started calling people in the neighborhood. Is it happening in you? Yes. And everybody was like, yes, from the continent. Yes. And we're like, okay. But you see, it's the same feeling like we had COVID. I mean, I liken this a little bit to what just happened with Facebook and all this shutdown, like COVID. And so we're hoping that this rehabilitation, that came back is the same thing. We're all going to overcome this pandemic, and that everyone is going to be safe, and life probably would come back to normalcy, but it's going to be different. We all agree that it's not going to be the same, particularly on the Pan African Daily TV, particularly also African communities. We're getting more consciousness because we're not distracted. And so there is a positive change. Whatever the change is, it brings a new beginning. It brings a new spirit. It brings a new, journey ahead of us. So that is it that we had from the Facebook, um, the Facebook. I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to use the term that Naisha used to describe it, but that was it. So we haven't got this guest from talking to us about Afro-Kansa, but I already told you that there's a new community and a project out there in Kentucky, Lexington, called Afro-Kansa. It is a meeting point for African migrants and the diaspora because of this disconnect that has been happening out there. If I had a flyer right here with me, I would have shared it, but I will drop it tomorrow because we were expecting the guest of this project. Andrea is her name. She is an African American out there. And they said they've been working on this project since last year, and the project is officially going to be a launch. So it is going to be something like a meeting point where people can eat, where they can present different cultures. There are going to be a lot of events there from the African American community and the migrant community. So it's really going to be a meeting point. Whether you're just meeting with your friends there to discover or to talk about Africa, like most people that have never heard, or have heard negative narratives about Africa, this is going to be the spot. From what I know, from what I hear, they're going to be also seminars, presentation, conferences, events, intermarriage. It's like a cool place to drink palm wine also. And I hear that they're going to be African dishes also that are going to be there. So, I mean, I really look forward to it. I had an official invitation actually to even cut the ribbon. But like, access between US and Europe is not friendly with travels, and COVID regulations are really tough out here now. So that's why. And of course, not only because of that, I have work to do on the Pan African Daily TV. So yes, I think we'll have to start shifting those face-to-face events for next year. We've had a lot of invitations from the community, even to report on their event, on their projects. We can't leave our desktop right now. We have a lot of education, a lot of hosting to do. There's still a lot of voices out there that have too much to contribute to educate us. Like I said, we are focused on culture and education and development through our stories, through our way of life on the Pan African Daily TV, hosting all of you with your different organizations and your projects. So make sure if you want to be a guest on the show, you just drop us a message. Good. So that is it about Afro-Kansa. Then we had this Pan African Daily TV this week. I already said it. The flyers are already out. We're going to have tomorrow this warrior queen called Gingone the second. She's a queen from Gabon. I don't know, Gabon. I think I researched it and I heard Gabon. But I went to her Instagram page and I saw very interesting conversations that this queen has been talking. I mean, I went through a conversation where he said, I mean, she's a Pan-African activist, a Nubian queen, mother, and a CEO. That's how she describes herself. Right, those are her attributes. And she's been doing, a couple of videos, a message to African kings, where she said, let's heal and stay focused, you know particularly to our kings out there. So she's going to be sharing a lot with us. And she also has a video that she put out, mandatory call to our unity, that it is mandatory from our ancestors, whether we like it or not. We can say we're just meeting, we're developing Africa, or we are working for our continent. No, she's saying it's a mandatory call, whether you like it or not. Each and every one of you that is involved in this process has been called to do it, and you have to do it. You have to take it as a work that your ancestors have given to you. You don't need you're not creating a job for you to earn money. You're not creating a job for you to live on. You're not creating another workspace, but it's a work that has been given to you by your ancestors. So no, It is a mandatory call for our unity. And she went on in that video to talk about why is it that we must pay attention to the cultures in which we're already existing in. So she's also going to tell us more about herself, more about her work, but she's putting on in just a short space, you could see a lot of videos that she's been pumping out there. Another one is she's talking about this detoxicating, detoxing, detoxicating or detoxing from false beliefs, that our way to Ubuntu is peace, love, and unity. How many times are we going to repeat these words here? I just said it from Professor James Small, the message, peace, love, and unity. But remember, Dr. Elaine said it. What kind of love are we talking about here? What kind of peace are we talking about here? What kind of unity? These are words and vocabularies that have been abused, that have been used in a context in which we don't even want to identify. It's just like prayers. When somebody say pray for me, automatically you just go to like, oh, another scam, right? Yes, it's just like somebody said, "Oh, African unity." And they're like, what kind of unity is that? The one that they created in 1963 at the OAU, the Organization for African Unity, right? And so there are some key words that have been abused in our system for the quest for the unification of the African on the mainland and in the diaspora. And so I totally and I fully agree with each and every person that when you hear such words, that's why even when we talk about religion, people don't just want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear about the Bible. Nobody wants to hear about the Quran. Nobody wants to hear about the Hebrew way of worship, because the African uh, hasn't seen anything that has come from any of these systems that were meant, to say it's a way forward for us. It is the liberation. It is the development of the African, and there has been setbacks. But I do truly agree that there has also been gains. But probably, like Professor James Ma is saying, how are we going to do it different? The structures are already existing, but what is going to change in the structures, right? And so we're also setting even conversations on religion and society. We cannot run away from it. Whether it's a debate, we would have to debate on it. But what we know that we need and we want, and is the way to our African renaissance, is our African spirituality. Indigenous African spirituality is what has been lacking. Should it have been that we had that, probably would have been having another conversation today. And you know who the key players on this and the experts that we have here, King Maponga Joshua. And I want to thank a lot of these comments that are coming out, or even the feedbacks that we're having in our WhatsApp chat. Some people asking, oh, we had a call today from Israel, and it's a Hebrew, an African Hebrew, that said, I want to get in touch with King Maponga as soon as possible because there's been a lot of teaching. I, as a Hebrew, I never saw it that way. Are we on? Okay. All right. Thank you, brother Leo, saying I share. I think we are on. We're connected. Yes, like I said, we just this the second time we're having this blackout. I don't know where it's coming from, but I think we are back on. And like we were saying, I've just been also this interrupted, but no problem. What we were saying is the more we have to start going back to our own indigenous culture and the way of doing our own thing. For us and the Pan African Daily, for us, focus on culture and education and development. There is no compromise. There is the African spirituality, which is exactly what we're talking about, the love, unity, and the peace. How do we understand it from our own culture? How do we understand it? The church and religion has come with peace and said, yes, we have to love each other. We see the same words repeating. And we see the church preach unity. Religion itself is all about the peaceful world, but we also see the wars that have been caused. We also see even the abuse of now, even some pastors that are said they are called by the Holy Spirit, creating this institution, and nobody is holding them accountable. They're doing all sort of abuse in the church in the name of religion, right? And then when we go even to the origins of it, to the Bible, like King Maponga is saying, what are the things that are contradicting? And so, but we are not going to completely eradicate these structures. It is the same thing like our language. We're talking also about the languages. We have to get an indigenous African language, Swahili. And I want to actually call upon all of you that are watching me. Did you know that the ADDI is launching a project called Swahili Language? I saw the flyer, and Brother Leo was sharing that flyer as well. So please make sure you check on our addi.org for that information. Of course, we are also coming up with the Pan African Daily TV news page itself. The news page where you can blog, where you can get correspondence, where we can report. When I say news, we're not talking about the mainstream news. We're not even going to call it a news page. We're calling it African Stories, our own stories from us. Because the term news and stuff also have been have been abused in one way or the other, right? And so, yes, we're going to be getting this community news wherever we are on the mainland continent and across. For now, we're just doing it on Facebook, but we're not going to stay on Facebook for live. We see the Pan African Daily TV Facebook page, and it's being hugely followed. That's just a social media platform, just like the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. But of course, we have to get the base, which is the AfroWorld.tv, that we would or eventually build the news broadcasting studios on the server. It's the same thing that we have Super Africa. Super Africa, I'm still looking to get in touch with the brother that launched it because we haven't heard anything from him. I think he was also still putting, because like you remember, the last time he came here, it was still at the test phase, just like the AfroWorld.tv. All the projects that were presented in the beginning, when our calling came that we have to relocate these places and create our own spaces, are existing. All our ADDI is existing, the building, the projects, yeah. The AfroWorld.tv is existing, the building, Sub Africa is existing. They also have Social Africa on our ADDI. All these platforms are existing, they're coming up. We're going to get even more. But the difference, like we say, we have to do things different on whose server. And that's why we're coming back to the Facebook that talked about the server in the cloud. So what's some kind of technical terms? Boy. But we also have African engineers that would actually explain what all these things are. What does it mean? We have the cloud. Oh God, how they use the creator and nature to just describe some kind of things that becomes rocket to you. Like there's a satellite somewhere in the cloud that hosts some data, and you begin to think like, oh, there's a God sitting out there in the cloud that is telling me what I have to do, what I don't have to do. It's the same thing. So we could put all those servers in the cloud as the God, actually, that is spying on you, the Google Maps, where you live from now, where you're going to, and you get a location. Oh, now you just checked in here. And so that's the I. What is it that we want again? That's the invisible I that is somewhere in the cloud. And so that's the I bring it to the baby stage, to the village level. If I want to explain something to this to somebody in my community, that's the way I'll break it. And to say there's something up above, not on the earth. There's the dimension earth, we walk on it, but above, right? And that watches and controls and do everything. You're out, they see you. You're even making love with your partner, they see you. Right? And so all these things, it's just like somebody is there just looking. What is he doing? Is he cooking? Is he using the restroom or doing what? And it's the same thing. So where are our own servers? Who is that eye of the African in the sky that has to look, where my children now? Who is hurting who? Who is being lynched? Who is being killed or murdered? Who is being incarcerated right now? Where's that I? And that's why we keep talking about the servers and the platforms. Now we heard the communique of Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, who came up and gave it and apologized actually for what happened. And of course, now we're hearing from the news medias and sources that it was a break shutdown from the server in the clouds. Right? It's so crazy. I mean, we will have to learn some of those things, particularly us that are coming from the village. We never knew anything like that. We looked at the sky and we saw clouds, white or nimbus cloud, as they call it, or the blue sky. Nobody ever thought that there was be something above there. And when you got into the plane for your first time, and then you didn't see anything, as a matter of fact, you didn't see angels in white above. It was just dark in there, and then you came down, and you're lucky that you even came down, and that was it. Those that have been on cruise ship, they just were in the waters, maybe could see something, but it's still a house that you are all enveloped in, and stuff like that. So where does it start? Where does it end? Right? And so that would be another topic that would be reaching out to these developers. Where are we now? The developer on AfroWorld.tv is also going to come. They're going to come in their numbers. Where are they now? Like I said, during the shutdown, we could talk on AfroWorld.tv. We could FaceTime. We could do calls to calls. We could text. Nothing happened, right? And so, yes, we have to trust our own systems. We have to create our own systems. But in the meantime, while we are doing that, we are using this other platform. So, and of course, even when we have our own, we will still partner with these platforms, right? We will still share our stream on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, or whatever, but we'll have our house on AfroWorld.tv. And it's not everything that you share now. The things that are only meant for the house would be only for family consumption. And then the other ones that are meant for the community, like news, or tell them what we're doing in the house, that's when we would share. So we should stay focused. We are on the right track. And I feel much better now. I mean, I couldn't talk for the past 2 days. I was just like, my voice was just crappy, this cold. But now sitting here and talking to you and connecting to you, I feel much better. I even feel like I wasn't even affected. This is the power of love and energy. Dr. Elaine shared enough of that with us. Dr. Elaine said it. I don't know. I'm lost again. I'm lost again. I don't know if you're seeing me. So this is the energy connecting us with the universe. If the energy is good, we are all good to go. If the energy is good, we heal one another. And that's the spirit that Professor James Small came out here and told me to tell you. He was healed. He was healed by just you thinking about him, by just you praying for him, by just you meditating for him. He got healed. Okay. Yeah. So I think We are 10 minutes into the show, and because of the too much interruption, really, I would like to end up here. But like I said, we're going to get this Queen Ngingone the second, and on Friday we're going to have Usman Toure here with us live in the studio to tell us some very also his experiences on this journey as a Pan-African for all this while. And yes, what more? I think we are done for today. If you can still see me because I'm in a blackout here, I don't know if I'm on, if I'm not on again. Yeah. So I don't know what is going on here. It's so crazy. Can someone hear me? Okay. We are still there. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Queen Sainova. I see you. Yeah, Dorian Scott. Thank you so very much, my queen. Leo, I see you, brother. Yep. We see you. We see you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Daniela Manyika is saying Ubuntu, Mama. Ubuntu to you. I share to all of you. Yes, I would have loved to us to continue. Darian Scott is saying the lost tribes of Kemet must unite. I bring up this message up there on the screen. You can see it and you can read it for yourself. Like I said, if you have a very important message to pass across, even if you're watching from our Facebook channel, please just share. We're going to bring it live on the screen for you. And one more else, Rachel Binda is saying, good vibes, technology. Yeah. And Leo said, we are in a digital world. Stephanie Francis, thank you for educating us. You say Google Cloud is what it is, what the schools and the kids. I don't know what actually that was meant. I would have loved to hear more about that. And I see Ambo Messi. Oh, that's my daughter watching from the Camerons. Thank you so very much for watching this very important episode. And we're going to continue the show tomorrow. And those that are saying, yes, we need our savior. We need it. We need us in the cloud. We need the African eyes, the African creator, the African God, our ancestors up. We need them. We need them very soon. Yeah. Ikan Fire is saying, Susanna, you are on fire. Thank you so much. Yes, you too. You too. We are all on fire and we are connecting. Yeah. I don't know what is happening. On my side, there's some breakage. I see them on and off. I don't see all your messages. Please don't blame me if I don't bring your message to the stream. Ah. Thank you. Even Iya is just disappearing and coming on the show. I don't even know how what is going on here today. Anyway, thank you so very much. Regards from all of us. All of us. I hear Defensive J saying, keep up the good work. Thank you so very much. So let's just say we see ourselves tomorrow, right? Because of the technical setbacks and stuff like that. Let us meet back here tomorrow. Make sure you share the flyer with Queen Ngonene. The second, I'm going to drop it tonight on Facebook and on the Facebook community, on the YouTube community here. Make sure you share it. We want to discover, maybe we just have another expert on the Pan-African Daily TV. We have to listen. We've been asking the queens to come out, and this one is really a warrior. If you want to get just a little bit a clue, just type her name on Instagram page. She's called Queen Ngingone. It's Ngingone the second. Yeah. And you can already feel that vibes from this powerful queen. So we'll see ourselves tomorrow, same time. Thank you so very much. And I do apologize a couple of times for the breakage, but as you know, it is the way it is. Bye-bye. Good night. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.